Welcome to a new episode of the podcast, the TF Motorsports podcast. I'm Thomas Fresco, and because I missed last week, I'm going to have to do a doubleheader. Whenever I miss 1 week, I got to make up for it and put it all into one episode. That's going to be what I'm going to be doing if ever this happens, which it has. Plans came up, and I also went to Monster Jam at Newark, had a good time there. So we're going to have to now cover 2 weekends of both Monster Jam Stadium Tours and also the 450 class of Monster Energy Supercross. So, let's get started here first with the Monster Jam Stadium Tour East. So obviously last week we talked about Tom Mentz's throwback paint for there, where he brought back Maximum Destruction, just a beautiful sight. However, I did not think that this would actually happen. A little cherry on the top on this beautiful thing that we're seeing here. Tom Mentz does a Tom Mentz save with just a few hits in his freestyle on show 1. And he also burns the truck into the ground by drilling it at the last hit, winning freestyle on the show, Saturday evening show. Really great stuff there for Tom. I'm really glad that he made that Maximum Destruction appearance worthwhile and made it lasting too. Alright, so let's go ahead and let's start off with points for the Saturday evening event. Tyler Menega would win racing against Colt Bernard and Black Pearl. Then skills would go to the JCB Digatron that is driven by Tristan England. He would beat Corey Rummel and Adam Anderson. Then freestyle, of course, Tom Mentz, Maximum Destruction. Beautiful run. One of the runs of the year. With Tyler Menega getting second. And Bad Company with John Gordon got third. Tyler Menega would get the overall event championship that night. Then we would move on to the second show. The second show had some pretty decent highlights and had a lot of really good freestyles that night. First, Tyler Menega would win racing against Ryan Disharoon and Shaker. Then the skills win would go to Tom Mentz and Max D. He would beat Tyler Menega and Corey Rummel. Tal the Duke. Wrong show. Then we got freestyle with John Gordon in Bad Company. He would actually get the freestyle win that night in the beautiful looking World Finals truck. He would win against Tyler Menega in Gravedigger and Tom Mentz in Maximum Destruction. Once again, Tyler Menega would get the overall event championship right under John Gordon and Tom Mentz. 1 week later, after going to Houston, they would then go to St. Louis at the Dome at the America Center. First night would see Tyler Menega win against John Gordon and Bad Company in racing. Then skills would go to Tyler Menega, with Tristan England getting second and Tom Mentz getting third. Then freestyle Tom Mentz in the regular Max D would get it, as on this show Tom Mentz would bring back the normal spiked Max D for St. Louis. So he would get the win with a nice Max D save on one tire. Tyler would get second, and Todd LeDuc would get third. And then yet again, Tyler Menega would get overall. Man, it's crazy how many overalls he's getting. Honestly, with the crazy performance that Tyler's been doing ever since the Superstar Challenge, I got a feeling he's gonna win a lot of championships in the future, and possibly 1 or 2 this year. Seeing the performance that he did and sweeping Superstar, I cannot believe that talent that this guy has. So then we have the second night, and this one's actually a little bit of a shakeup compared to all the other nights we talked about so far. Tristan England would actually get the racing win in JCB Digatron against John Gordon and Bad Company. I think this might have been his second win in this truck, I think. Then the skills would go to Tyler and Gravedigger, with Tom Mentz and Max D in second, and Tristan in third. And freestyle would go to Bryce Kenny in the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior with a really good run, getting a somersault save, and then he would also get the consecutive backflip. Now, the previous night, Ryan Disharoon in Shaker would also get that hit. However, it wasn't as clean, but on this night, Bryce just nailed it. Like, there was no landing on the chassis. He just went, and it looked like it was by mistake, but man, he nailed that. And the freestyle scores definitely show 9.701 against Ryan Disharoon and Shaker's 9.393. So that's insane. So yeah, he got a well-deserved run, well-deserved win. Another freestyle. There's so many freestyle candidates this year. Like, with how January played off, immediately, this is the best season of the 2020s and one of the best seasons ever. Just highlight after highlight, moment after moment. It was just spectacular the whole way through. So then Tristan England would get the overall event championship that night, a little bit of a shakeup, which he would get a 32 points, and then Lindsey Reed, I believe, was driving, because I think Houston Charlie was filling in, I think. So Lindsey got a 24, and so did Todd LeDuc. So just a massive lead there for Tristan England. Now going into the points, Tyler Menega has the points lead as of right now with 189 points. Tristan England is in second with 167 points. Tom Mentz and Max D with 139 in third. John Gordon and Bad Company with 135 in fourth. Bryce Kenny, Great Clips Mohawk Warriors in fifth, rounding up the top five with 130. Todd LeDuc, Megalodon, 126. Ryan Disharoon and Shaker with 108. Colvin R. Black Pearl, 92. Lindsey Reed / Charlie Pauken and Lucas Stabilizer with 91. Jamie Gardner and El Toro Loco with 89. Matt Pagliarulo and Jester. And Mike Pagliarulo and Kraken struggling throughout this year. Matt has 62. Mike has 36. As that is the Stadium Tour East as of right now, before we go on to their next stop coming up this weekend. From the top of my head, I already forgot where they're going, but I'm already pretty excited to see what's happening through social media, because Tom Mentz has posted about his truck tarped off. He's ready to reveal a new Max D body. So Tom Mentz has so far revealed that World Finals concept, which was split between 20th anniversary and regular Maximum Destruction. Then he just goes and gives us Maximum Destruction, then regular Max D. For this week, Indianapolis, that's where they're going. So for the Indianapolis, I'm thinking what Tom Mentz is going to bring. I think he's going to bring back the Fire Max D. That's my pick for what Tom will bring for that event. All right, now we got the Stadium Tour West, which had some pretty interesting moments throughout Anaheim and San Diego. So first they went to Anaheim a couple weeks ago, and the shows were pretty much mud fests. And for what they did in the mud was actually very impressive. Like, 2018 mud shows were, obviously, as I've seen in person, just tough to do really anything. But when it comes to Monster Jam these days, as now shown, you could pretty much do anything in the mud. As backflips are being done, some skills hits are actually being performed. Obviously, a lot of drivers decided to just go either for huge air or donuts. But for the skills challenge, Ryan had that to a T. So really, really good stuff. So let's go ahead and let's go into what we got for points. So first, Ryan Anderson would get the win against Adam in Show 1. Also in Show 1, he would win the skills competition with, I believe it was that slap wheelie move he did against Camden Murphy and Corey Rummel. Then Adam Anderson would get a Ragged Edge Gravedigger run, and as a result, he would get the win against Corey Rummel and Megalodon and Barry Musauer and Zombie, and believe it or not, he would also win the overall event championship. And now, after all this times of seeing Adam's new driver photo, I've now come up with a pretty good nickname for him. Adam Mustache Anderson. That's my nickname for Adam. I got one for Colt Stevens' pillow, obviously, as we did a joke back when we saw the kickoff. But for Adam, we gotta, seriously, magnificent mustache. I'm surprised he's not sponsored by Old Spice. So Adam Mustache Anderson gets it with a 32. But right behind Ryan Anderson, he's actually behind him by 1 point from that show, and Corey Rummel would get third. Then we have the next show. This show was a little bit better with the conditions that they had. Camden Murphy would get the win in racing, defeating Colt Stevens and Thunder Roars. Then skills once again would go to Ryan Anderson and Son of a Digger against Adam and Camden. Then freestyle, Colt Stevens and Thunder Roars would get the freestyle win. I think this might be his first freestyle win of the year. Great job to Colt on that. Which he would get it over Camden, Ryan Anderson, Adam, and Joe Foley. Overall, though, would go to Camden Murphy and Bakugan Dragonoid, who had 33 points. And tied, believe it or not, behind Camden is a three-way tie between Colt Stevens, Ryan Anderson, and Adam Anderson, who all had 30 points by the end of that night. So very competitive on that tour. Meanwhile, we go to Stadium East, and that one is pretty much the Tyler Menega show. But speaking of the shows, San Diego was mostly dominated by Ryan Anderson, as we see in the points here. Ryan Anderson would win racing against Corey Rummel in Megalodon. Then skills he would also take down. But, however, he would place a little lower in freestyle, because Joe Foley and El Toro Loco would have a really, really good run. Big backflip save. And he would burn that truck down, literally. As with all that, he would win freestyle. Congratulations to Joe Foley on that big win in San Diego. But, however, that was not enough for the overall. He would place third, and second was Adam, and first was Ryan Anderson in Son of a Digger with a 30. Then we have the second show. Camden Murphy would beat Ryan Anderson in racing. Skills would go to Ryan Anderson and Son of a Digger once again with a 9.142. David Alford would be second, and Adam Anderson would be third. Then we have freestyle on the second night. It went to Ryan Anderson and Son of a Digger. Colt Stevens' Pillow would be second, and Barry Musauer would be in third. Ryan Anderson, Son of a Digger, would get the overall, this time by a big margin. He would have 35 points by the end of the night, and Barry Musauer would have 28, and he placed second in overall. So, massive domination by Ryan Anderson in that show. And as the points show as of right now, Ryan Anderson is leading with 226 points. Right behind is a two-way tie between Adam Anderson and Gravedigger and Camden Murphy and Bakugan Dragonoid with 219 points. Corey Rummel and Megalodon with 188 points is in fourth. Rounding up the top five is Barry Musauer and Zombie with 161. Colt Stevens and Thunder Roars with 152. Chris Kohler and Monster Mutt with 144. David Alford and Velociraptor with 138. Joe Foley, El Toro Loco, 119. And Kayla Blood, rounding up the top 10, she moves up a couple spots in Soldier Fortune in 105. Meanwhile, 11th is Mike Christensen and Vendetta in 80. And shockingly, Jim Kohler, Mr. Excitement, and Avenger is last with 73 points. Then we have Arena Series Central is what I got to see at the Monster Jam at the Prudential Center. Had a great time. Got to meet up with Michaela and Brandon Telechka. Those guys were very chill. And then I got to high five Santa. If you're in the New Jersey area for a monster truck show, you're gonna see Santa. And if you were in Newark, Santa Claus was there. And him on the Jumbotron, like they were doing some things obviously where fans can move around or whatever, especially with intermission. There was the flex cam, and then Santa was literally just doing this like freaking Hulk Hogan flexes, like he was going to town on that. Oh my god. Oh, me and my family, we were freaking out. We were like, Santa, I love you. It was a great time. But apparently one thing did not go as planned, and that was Jamie Sullivan, though. Switching gears. Same night I went, as you've probably seen either on Instagram, my social media, or here on TF Motorsports on the Show 2 highlights, Jamie Sullivan goes for a backflip, and what ended up happening was it looked like she hit it wrong. I might be wrong. Either she hit it wrong or the truck didn't work. She got a half backflip and landed right on top of the cab, and that's never a good hit. Those are like the worst hits you can have in a monster truck these days. She's okay, but however, it seems like she might have a slight injury. I wish her a speedy recovery, though. Meanwhile, somebody else will be filling in for her for the next 2 weeks. Filling in for her will be Joe Dennis, who last year drove Scooby-Doo and has been out for a little bit. He'll be filling in for Jamie Sullivan in Monster Mutt Dalmatian for the next 2 shows. Hopefully he does good. But yeah, I just wish Jamie Sullivan a speedy recovery, because when I saw that hit, I knew it. I knew it wasn't, like a really good hit. Because even then, like, I saw the chassis get busted, and that really just looked ugly. As a result of that, and her being out of action for a couple shows, as well as Alex Barden and Stone Crusher, who my sister literally said looks like JonTron for some reason. Weston Anderson now pretty much is confirmed to like win this whole entire tour. He has 136 points. Jamie Sullivan and also now teamed up is Joe Dennis with her in Monster Mutt Dalmatian with 278 points. Fernando Martinez, El Toro Loco, with 256 points is in third. Brandon Telechka and Just Get Her Done 2, 254 points. And Brianna Mahan rounding up the top 5 in Scooby-Doo with 236 points. Michaela Telechka and Megalodon got 172 points. Alex Barden, Stone Crusher, 145, and rounding up the top bracket being Frank Kreml, Zombie, not having that much luck in this arena tour so far. Placed last with 128 points. Then we go to Arena Series East. It is being dominated so far by Armando Castro and El Toro Loco. He's in the lead by 3 points, though. Kristen Anderson and Graybigger is right on his tail with 232 points. But then we have a pretty big gap. Surprisingly, Cody Saucier has several points back in Dragon. He has 201 points, rounding out the top 3. Zach Garner, my pick. He's pretty far behind, 269 points in Wildside. Chad Tingler in Overboard, 139 points. Mark Hall, Raminator, 125 points. Angelina Knock in Megalodon with 112 points. And Kurt Kramer in Ramunition is rounding up the field with 75 points. Finally, Arena Series West. We have Brandon Vinson with a ridiculous lead. Just might as well just put a fork in it. He's going to the World Finals at this point. So Brandon Vincent and Gravedigger has 481 points, and Tony Oaks and Thunder Roars is in second with 383 points. Yeah, I think we know who's going to the World Finals now. Anyway, Dalton Winder in Jurassic Attack is in third with 364 points. MJ and El Toro Loco has 314 points. Ashley Sanford and Megalodon with 313 points. James Calhoun in Earthshaker with 228 points. Devin Winfield / Jeff Sosa in Velociraptor with 199 points. And rounding it out is Berto and Moshamut Rottweiler with 192 points. So, Monster Jam's West Tour returns to, looks to be Angel Stadium again. As we've said earlier, it's just been Angel Stadium and Snapdragon Stadium for that tour. So, I would not be surprised if they were the next World Final stop. And then we also have Stadium Tour East being at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. Then Arena Central is at UBS Arena. Arena Championship East is at the AMICA. It's in Providence, Rhode Island. Let's just say that. I can't read too good. And then we have the Fargo Dome, which will be hosting Arena Championship Series West. So that is Monster Jam. Now we get to Monster Energy Supercross. Alright, so then we have Monster Energy Supercross, which they had two events. First, it was the event at Snapdragon Stadium. Man, Feld Entertainment with Snapdragon Stadium and Angel Stadium. Like, what the hell? So that event happened, and for the third freaking week in a row, there is weather issues, lots of rain and muddy conditions. What the hell? So that happened. Anyway, Aaron Plessinger got the win. He led 15 laps. Pretty much the whole entire distance. Meanwhile, Cooper Webb was second. Justin Barca in third. Jet Lawrence in fourth. And Jason Anderson rounding out the top 5. That's how that went. Then rounding up the top 10 was Dylan Fernandez in 6th. In 7th was Hunter Lawrence. In 8th is Chase Saxton. My pick is in he placed 9th, which is Eli Tomac, and 10th was Dean Wilson. That's the top 10 for that event. Now we move on to, you want to know where this next one was? If you said Anaheim, California, you'd be wrong unless today is opposite day, so you are right, it is Angel Stadium. I should probably cut that. That was not good. Anyway, so they actually had decent weather this time. So that's good. So now let's go ahead and let's get to our finish for the overall. Cooper Webb got it done. In second was Eli Tomac. Third was Aaron Plessinger. Fourth was Jason Anderson. Fifth was Chase Saxton. Jet Lawrence was 6th. Ken Roxon got 7th. Justin Cooper got 8th. Dylan Fernandez got 9th. And Malcolm Stewart rounding out the top 10. And now let's go ahead and let's go over the points for the 450 class. Aaron Plessinger is in the lead with 80 points. Chase Saxton right behind with 76. Cooper Webb with 74. Jet Lawrence with 72, and rounding up the top 5 is the number 3 of Eli Tomac with 70, Jason Anderson with 67, Dylan Fernandez with 62, Ken Roxon is in 8th with 57. Justin Barker with 49 points is in 9th. And rounding up the top 10 is Jorge Prado with 45 points. As Monster Energy AMA Supercross is going to be going to, I believe, Detroit coming up next. Yes, they're going to be at Detroit, Michigan in Ford Field tonight. As the race will be, I think, exclusively on Peacock again. Very decent track, it's pretty much like a somewhat of a basic track, but I do like the concept. So hopefully that one goes well, and now we know since they're going to be indoors, Mother Nature will not play a factor, thank God. I'm going to take this break to talk about something going on here on TF Motorsports this year. Motorsports Hour is going to be a little bit different this year. Instead of 3 shows, I'm going to go to plenty. I'm looking at many different spots. Obviously, I got Middletown listed. I got the Sussex Fair listed again if they have a show. However, I am going to go to Lebanon Valley. I'm also going to be going to let's see, I think it was Berlin, New Jersey. I looked up that. Looks pretty decent. And we also have Accord. They're actually having a monster truck show in October, which is the Versus Monster Trucks. Can't wait to see them for the first time. There might be some more shows. I could possibly try to find some more, but that will be for Motorsports Hour. Now, the reason why I didn't do Motorsports Hour for Monster Jam is because, well, I said for episode 1 of this podcast, Motorsports Hour is more of for the independent monster truck tours, since Monster Jam already has their own stuff and whatnot. Also possibly to avoid copyright. So I'm going to do Motorsports Hour only for independent tours, and then for Monster Jam videos I'll do the regular record and react. But for Motorsports Hour I have to force myself to be quiet, because then I can do my commentary and it'll sound and look a little bit more professional. I'm also thinking about doing multi-camera angles, either if somebody wants to help me out, like record their view and send it to me, or I can go and get a GoPro and have either a static shot or maybe a car crush shot. That's something I do want to try. Hopefully they'll allow it. But yeah, so this year for Motorsports Hour is going to look really, really great. Another thing I want to try is dirt racing. There is dirt racing in the intro, but I just have not got to it. I want to do one for Orange County and maybe some for Accord. I think Motorsports Hour might begin maybe in March, because I'm going to be going up to New Egypt coming up. So I'm hoping that I can do that soon and try to get the lineups right. That's my goal. I'm hoping to start Motorsports Hour with dirt racing and then get to the monster truck stuff, which will be in June with Berlin, New Jersey. That'll be my first stop, and I'm hoping to add more when the time comes, and we could go from at least like 7 or 8 shows to I'm hoping to reach the 10 independent shows, because already this is a new record, but this would be really, really cool if I could get past that. Anyway, as you probably see here on the thumbnail, after weeks and weeks of just avoiding it, we're finally talking about NASCAR. Excuse me. Finally, after all this time, because it was the off-season, and the off-season is, well, the most boring part of the year, but thankfully we're almost done with that, because today and tomorrow is the LA Clash at the Coliseum. So, coming up, NASCAR will be at the Coliseum. I believe tonight is qualifying, and coming up tomorrow will be the main race, as well as the Mexico Series. They will also have their race. So first will be the Mexico Series in the afternoon, then the NASCAR Cup Series will have their race in the evening. So really, really great stuff. I'm glad they're doing 2 different series in there, which could possibly be the last one at the Coliseum, unless if they go for an expansion. But yeah, just really, really good stuff coming up. I'm really excited for that. So my pick for the Clash, honestly, it's a little tough because again, a new Toyota came out and a new Ford came out. So, but not only that, but also it's a very like unpredictable track. You just kind of have to be in that position and not get bumped out of the way. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and just say I think it's gonna be Kyle Busch. I honestly have this feeling that Kyle Busch is gonna get it. And then after this weekend, we move on to Speed Days. It's not exactly Speed Weeks no more because it's not a couple weeks as it used to be. And then we finally get the Daytona 500. And honestly, the commentary has not been good these last several years. It got so bad to the point that last year, while I was watching the Daytona 500 and a couple of other races when I had free time, I muted the TV and decided to put MRN on instead. It actually, even though that it's a little delayed, it helps a lot more with the experience on TV. I'm hoping to also maybe go to like at least one race in my life. Obviously, the closest one is Pocono, so I'll have to go to that. But yeah, so really, really good stuff coming up, and I'm excited for NASCAR coverage to finally take shape, because right now I'm just doing little predictions, but yeah, so when we get to the main time where we have weekly points and the expedition, all those races are all done, and we finally get to Daytona, it's going to be some good stuff. So that was the little preview for NASCAR, and that was the coverage for Monster Jam and Monster Energy AMA Supercross. Hope everybody has a great weekend, and hope to see you next time here on the TF Motorsports podcast. And yes, I actually managed to have one question, believe it or not, on Instagram. Do you think Monster Jam will be overtaken by Hot Wheels? Now, yeah, I won't be going just yet. I have to bring this up. Hot Wheels actually has, in France, on their international tour, a stadium stop with 9 trucks, with a couple of returning ones. A very interesting track, I must say. They actually have dirt. But I think Monster Jam is never going to be taken down. I think they'll stay number 1, because it's similar to like WWE or like the NFL. The name's just too big, especially for casual families who just want to go and have a good time. I think they're easily going to be always number 1, and all the other tours could come up close, but they won't overtake it. So that's my thoughts on that. But yeah, the track that they had, honestly, was pretty decent. I hope that they at least, go for more stadium stops at some point, maybe in the United States if that's possible. But the tour that I'm really pushing to be the next big tour in the independents is the Outlaw Monster Truck Drags. That tour should really get a lot more recognition. I'm just saying. It's got some very interesting racing tracks, and I think it would be cool to have it in a stadium. All right. Time for me to head out. Thank you guys for tuning in to the TF Motorsports podcast. We'll see you next week for more Monster Jam, more Monster Energy Supercross, and more NASCAR coverage. See you guys next time.